What is up, everyone? We have got some fantastic news if you are a Bitcoin holder that you are going to want to hear relating to Grayscale. Of course, you might have seen the title, might have seen the thumbnail. Do we potentially see the end of days of the Grayscale sell-off? Or is this simply just a different nothing burger story? We're going to address that and a whole lot more in today's video, so stick around for the entire thing. You don't want to miss a second of it. T-Shroom, run that intro. What is up, everybody? Go ahead, if you are already a subscriber to the channel, smash the like button. Let's get more people in here. In case you didn't know, YouTube seems to like when people smash like. They also like when people subscribe, and we're 21 subscribers away from 14,000, in which case we will do another $100 giveaway. We're going to go broke at this rate, T-Shirt. We're not making as much money as we are gaining subscribers, and we're just keep giving out these $100 giveaways. But we're going to do it anyway, because that's what we've committed to. T-Shroom, speaking of my co-host, how are you doing today, good sir?
I'm doing better than I deserve, Tim. I really am, I must say. And I've got a quote of the day for us here. We're getting deeper into April, and we haven't had a light spring-themed quote, and we're going to not have that, even after today. But we are going to have this quote, which is, start each day with a grateful heart. It's just that simple, Tim. What are some ways that you start the day with a grateful heart?
You know, I will say, this is going to sound weird. I don't have a hard time starting each day with a grateful thought. I mean, when you have a child under the age of 1 who's just super excited each day, like, I mean, you want to talk about starting each day with a grateful thought. Brody wakes up and the first thing he does is just smile from ear to ear. So it's really hard to interact with that kid and not feel grateful every single day. So I have a cheat sheet. Before I had a Brody, though, you know, there are definitely days I failed at this. There are definitely days where I was like, can we just skip this day and move on to the next one? I'm already tired and I'm just waking up. But it's just about that constant every single day. I'm a big believer in affirmations. You know, you are what you think about, and what you focus on is going to dictate who you are as a person, how you treat each and every single circumstance that comes into your life. Everything has pros and cons. It sounds crazy to say that, but everything that happens to you in life, good or bad, has things that actually are very helpful for you and things that are very hurtful to you. But the question is, which one do you dwell on? Do you dwell on the positives? Do you dwell on the negatives? That tells a lot about what your day in life is going to look like. What about you, T-Shirt? What do you do to wake up every morning and be grateful?
Well, I look at the Bitcoin that I own, and I say to myself, I am grateful for my Bitcoin.
It is. That's true. When Bitcoin goes up, that's not hard to be grateful for that either.
Now, I see you're drinking some Gatorade there.
I am. It's a different day, you know.
And it's good because you're prioritizing hydration. And
yes,
there is no other crypto YouTube channel out there, an investing community that prioritizes hydration more than the Investing Bros. And if you find a community that does that more than we do, that prioritizes and promotes hydration, definitely go ahead and bring them to our attention, and we will spend the rest of that day drinking water nonstop.
Listen, it's a 100% fact. 100% of people that are in profit right now in their Bitcoin trading have drunk some form of liquid in the last 48 hours. 100%. 100% of them. It's the ones in loss that are maybe at question. Yeah. I don't know if they're all drinking water necessarily, but they're drinking something to hydrate. You know, that's just a correlation we have found with no exceptions whatsoever. T-Shroom, I had 2 things I wanted before we jump into the charts here. We jump into conversation. We are going to have a slightly shorter show today. That doesn't mean it's going to be super short. We're just going to be ending today at 4 o'clock. It's good. There's not a crazy amount of news to break down, but I want to take a second and address. First of all, we don't do this enough. You guys need to be following us on Twitter. Go ahead and go to my screen here, T-Shroom. I think I shared it with you. Yeah, I already shared it with you. So make sure you guys are following us on Twitter. This is me right here, Tim Warren, at Tims_TA. Don't fall for the fakes. There's a lot of them out there. Tim Warren was not available. Tim was not available, so I had to go a little bit creativity here and go with Tim's TA. Make sure you guys are following T-Shroom. That one's easy, at T-Shroom and at Investing Bros. But I put out 2 tweets today. Today felt like a long-term perspective type of a day. And the first one I did, this one right here, make sure you guys go engage with it. But I want to speak to some of you guys right now because I've heard a lot of people saying when they make X amount of money in crypto, they're going to retire. Now, if you're like 60 or 70 years old and you're already close to retirement, I still want to urge you to stay active. I mean, the day you mentally retire is the day your mental capacity starts going downhill. Keep working, keep being sharp. But for those of you who especially are younger, and I'm talking, maybe you're in your 20s or 30s or even your 40s and 50s, I put this tweet out to you guys. Don't use your crypto gains as a way to retire early. Use your gains to create financial freedom so you can find the kind of work that excites you each and every day. What I mean by that is, don't think that you're going to live off of just the big money you make in this bull market. Let's even say you make $1 billion. I don't know if anyone in our community is going to make $1 billion, but let's pretend you make $1 billion. You would be set for life. Your children, your grandchildren, and many generations would be set for life. You wouldn't have to work another day in your life or any of your children. Is that actually how we want to live? That's actually very detrimental to you as a human and to your children. What you should be doing is, do you have a job right now that you absolutely love? Well, guess what? Keep doing that job. Continue to work, not only to continue to make more income, because you can always make more. And if you have enough income, make more so you can help and bless other people. But secondly, to keep your mind sharp in a way that you are helping the world. Every single job, even if you are a janitor at a school, you are serving the world in some way, some capacity. Find some job that allows you to be filled with joy in understanding how you're helping and giving back to other people. Do not use riches and wealth to stop working and become lazy and unproductive. The second one, now that one's more of like a personal one, but this one I want to start off by just getting in here. And I could be wrong, and I wouldn't be necessarily too upset if I was wrong, but you guys know here recently, we've taken a look, we've looked at a lot of historical analysis of what happens post-halving events. And I put this out here because I've already seen them start to circulate on the internet. And I'm telling you guys, I'm mentally preparing for is Bitcoin headed for new highs? And the truth is, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. There might be a time or two where T-Shirt and I post a title with that kind of thought just to get people in so we can address the issues. But I'm preparing myself for daily seeing, is Bitcoin headed for new highs? And then followed days later by, is the Bitcoin bull market over? We've already seen this be in play. Today, we're seeing the new, is Bitcoin about to hit new highs? But the problem is we're in the part of the market that Bitcoin gets very, very boring. There are days where it goes up. There's days where it goes down. Ultimately, though, we kind of stay in a nice flat range for historically at least 3 months, maybe a little bit more. After that, though, then we can start to see not only Bitcoin, but altcoins go parabolic. But I just want to mentally prepare you guys. You're going to see a lot of head fakes. You're going to see a lot of overly bullishness and overly bearishness back and forth and back and forth. And it's going to pull on your emotions. It's going to pull on your mindset. One day you're going to be thinking, I don't own enough Bitcoin. The next day you're going to be thinking, I own too much Bitcoin. And ultimately, you need to stay grounded and you need to know that you are making wise decisions. Use this time to just accumulate more. Is it Satoshis? Do you not have enough of those? Get more of them. Do you need more Chainlink or Cardano or Solana or Ethereum? Use this time to address your portfolio and say, you know what? Price is going to be relatively flat for the next 90 to maybe 120 days or more. This is the perfect opportunity for me to save as much dry powder as I can and allocate into these relatively low prices compared to where we'll be in 12 months and address all things I need and prepare myself for an amazing bull market. That's why I want you guys to mentally be. Do not be following for the FOMO and the FUD that will be playing out like clockwork over the next couple of months. With that said, let's go ahead, T-Shroom. Any thoughts before I go into our CoinMarketCap Open, which I don't even have CoinMarketCap up yet, so I have to pull it up. Any thoughts you want to tell the people before we jump into the show today?
Yeah, one of the ways that I find peace in my life is knowing that I have a lot of Bitcoin, but I'm not over invested at any given time. If I have bills, I know that that have coming up. I keep it cash, right? If I know that I'm gonna have to pay some bills, and this year I've got a lot because of a wedding that I'm planning and financing independently. along with the rest of my family. There's major expenses that I have coming up. I don't keep that in Bitcoin, right? Because we just had a 17% pullback, and I wouldn't have liked to have had to sell Bitcoin to be able to pay for those expenses. So I keep a little cash on the side, and that is what has led to a low stress, high productivity, and high peace lifestyle that I've been able to enjoy. Tim, let's take a look at the CoinMarketCap coin rankings for today.
Let's do it. Shout out to Brittany Blotsky. Just bought Lux Algo today. Let's go. Shout out to Brittany. Make sure you guys go over into Discord and join the VIP group. You can enter a ticket and then put your ID for your Lux Algo sign up, and I will admit you into our VIP trading group. Bitcoin is up today 2.5%. Is it a lot? No, it's not a lot, but it's good. That's a good little gain for Bitcoin. Back up over 66,000. We'll take a look at the charts and show you maybe some levels to keep an eye on in the next little bit. Ethereum up 1.2. BNB is up big. Now, we never talk about BNB, T-Shroom, but this is something I think in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to make a video about BNB and what people should expect. There is money to be made in BNB. Maybe not as much as lower altcoins, but it's just since the top of the last bull market, a very faithful top 5 coin. Even with all of the FUD that BNB has had, it just refuses to get shook out of the top 5, of the top, even definitely the top 10. But this is a very solid project that, again, is it going to be safe money? Is it going to make you a lot of money? Maybe not, but neither is Ethereum or Bitcoin, if we're really being honest. But if you're going to hold Bitcoin because how steady Bitcoin's been or how steady Ethereum's been, we kind of got to put BNB into that category of very stable, very consistent income. And it's going to go up in this bull market when people trade on Binance, which they will. BNB is going to do very, very well. So we sleep on that too much, T-Shirt, and we got to address that more frequently. Solana up 3.6% on the day. XRP up 4.2%. Does look like XRP might be our biggest gainer of the top 10 because Cardano's only up 3.7%, Sheev 3.3%, Avalanche 5%, but it's not a top 10 coin, so it doesn't get to be the top mover of the top 10. Let's take a look at the top movers of the top 100. Pepe coming in 15% up and 40% on the week. So that is a sign of bullishness short term when the meme coins are having a good week. Up 40% on the week. Expect that to continue. I think you're going to see here in a couple of days, Pepe probably will be the top loser. I think that volatility on the meme coins is just going to go back and forth with pretty good extremes. So potentially, we don't look at Pepe's chart very often, but potentially keep an eye on Pepe as a decent trade back and forth between shorts and longs and shorts and longs. Near Protocol up 15% today, continuing to do very, very well. I don't want anyone to feel flooded out by Near. I do think that we will see Render pass it as far as AI tokens in terms of market cap. I think that ASI, that new one that's going to be the merge of the other three, eventually will pass it. But Near's continuing to do very, very well. Is a solid project for all of the people that have been holding it. Say as well, Pendle, Core, Immutable X, The Graph, all having some pretty good green days. Most things are up, but let's take a look at our biggest losers. Anyone really in the red? Not really. Maker down 2.8. Bonk, another meme coin, down 2.7. But take a look at that. It's up 38% itself in the last week, similar to Pepe. Toncoin continues to bleed here a little bit after, jumping Cardano and then jumping Dogecoin. It's on its way back down. Still has a ways to fall before Cardano catches up, but it is in the red today. So is ICP. But again, nothing major. So as a whole, even though we do have coins in the red today, there's nothing really to be freaking out about just now. Let's go ahead and take a look into our technical analysis here, starting off with Bitcoin. Now, I drew this kind of range here more recently. I think I drew this one on Friday. It's one I'm going to continue to keep an eye on. If you guys want to kind of look at this and mimic it on your charts, I told you guys just mentally prepare. As I even said in that tweet just a little bit ago, I was showing you guys, just mentally prepare yourself for up and down action. With a lot of times, every time we get closer to 71, maybe we make a move up towards 73 or so. Not going to be surprised to see people being super bullish, but then the price rejects and comes back down. Same thing, though. I'm expecting I could see one move about to 55 or so, but for the most part, the next couple of months, every time we get closer to 60 to 61,000, I'm gonna probably expect a lot of articles to come out, people's opinions to say, "Uh-oh, Bitcoin's about to fall drastically." only to find bounces coming back in that range. Piper, in a super chat on Saturday, addressed this, and I'm sure he's been talking about it on Piper Academy as well. He addressed the fact that we're actually in a little bit of a falling channel right here. So it's going to be interesting how long this one holds up. It's a very slight falling channel, meaning both the support and resistance are technically declining, but not a lot. Again, this range could keep us above 55K for a long time. We could hit 55 in June. Let's see, 55. You'd have to hit it. Yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be one that I want to see how far this plays out. Do we keep setting lower highs and lower lows? If we end up breaking above this, I'm not going to freak out and say, "Oh, that's got to be it. We're going to new highs." Because again, you still want to keep a look at this horizontal level, but keep an eye on this trend for sure. This declining trading channel could get interesting over the next couple of weeks and months. Now, earlier, again, we had someone say they signed up for Lux Algo. You guys know the charts are always brought to you guys by Lux Algo, the best trading indicator out there. I told you guys, don't be surprised as we're pumping to start getting closer to a level where we potentially see some form of rejection. I'm here on the 4-hour chart where we did break over the weekend. We broke above our smart trail concept. That is bullish. So I do want to make sure before I say anything else, the Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart is back in possession of the bulls for the most part, right? I would not be surprised to see us keep moving to the upside here, but we're getting close to where a pullback probably should happen. Not only do we have a pretty fat order block coming in right here at this 66,700, you also see our take profit suggestion as well as the red cloud kind of topping us out right here at a green line we've had up here for a while. This $69,000 level. I think it's going to take a lot at this point to get us above that. Our oscillators are bullish. MACD climbing to the upside, nice. Our RSI climbing to the upside. The RSI really is not overextended. The oscillator here for Lux Algo is not overextended. We're very positive money flow, not getting a resistance. But the reason I think a cool off could come is Stochastic's RSI. It's been living here, overbought right now. It's not, you guys can see historically, you don't spend a lot of time up there before falling. And you want to make sure you use Confluence, but Stochastic's RSI is actually, you could probably do decent with trading. Not perfect, but decent just by closing the chart and just every time you come and drop down to low levels, buying down here and selling up here. You would definitely lose out on some trades, but especially the higher up you go, like if you were to go closer to the daily chart, it's not a terrible strategy. And right now, daily chart actually showing we could stay up for a little while longer. 4-hour chart, though, is saying, hey, a correction should be on the books, right? Should be on the books. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Moving out to that daily chart, I do want to prepare you guys. We really haven't really hit as low as we really could have gone. It does look like we're moving back up here again towards that smart trail concept. That smart trail concept wave starts around that 68,000 we kind of referenced. Could go even as high as up here towards 71,500. But take a look at this chart we're looking at. That would simply put us right back up into a nice order block and that resistance level that Piper pointed out in this descending channel. So to be honest with you guys, if we're going to start making a lot of claims about the Bitcoin bull market being back and we're about to explode up to 100,000. It's not just can we get a wick above this yellow line. We need to see some closings of daily candles above this level. Really, let's get some above 72K. If we can get above 72K, if we can flip this smart trail concept and we can flip this yellow line, and then we have a conversation to talk about potentially moving further to the upside. But for now, I'm going to tell you guys, that seems like a pretty strong level of resistance at this point for Bitcoin. T-Shroom, because today we're going to be talking about this recent Grayscale news, because I'm just showing you guys the charts we're looking at. Short-term kind of bullish, intermediate term kind of sideways boring. There is some big news that could, and that's the key word here, could. I'm not predicting it will, but if we break bullish early, meaning before the next 3 months, and start hitting new highs, this would be the news to do it. T-Shroom, let's jump into that story. And then afterwards, I know people have been asking about Cardano TA, Link TA, XRP TA. We'll do some more altcoin TA here in a couple of minutes. But let's stay on Bitcoin and move to the stories as to why a big move could be coming in the near future.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, it all goes back to earlier last month when we got this headline. March 12th, it said Grayscale files for Bitcoin mini trust will it offset the GBTC losses? And there was speculation in this article here, ultimately concluding, in fact, the only reason to stay in GBTC would be to for long-term holders to avoid realizing a taxable event by selling their shares. So it really didn't have a firm conclusion back then on the 12th. And today, Grayscale, this is the headline for the live time, coming out on April 20th. Grayscale plans industry low 0.15% fee for Bitcoin mini trust spinoff fund under ticker BTC. Boy, that'll be confusing. But ultimately here, it still isn't known. It still isn't really known exactly what is going to happen. But ultimately, it's guys like us. It's the commentators. It's going to be the crypto community that ultimately has the best edge on answering that question. I think if I had to take a step forward and give a poke at it, I would say that new buying is going to go into the mini GBTC, and that very few people are going to buy the existing GBTC. It's going to be mostly rotation into the mini, and that's probably where I would feel the most confident. What happens to GBTC if people sell out of it and rotate into the mini? I think that does kind of go back to Stephen. I can never remember his name. It starts with an S. But the CEO of Grayscale, he kind of called that Grayscale was reaching that equilibrium level, and so I would kind of default to his wisdom and his perspective on that we would likely not see a rotation out of GBTC and into the mini GBTC because of that taxable event scenario that was referenced here in this other article from March 12th. So overall, I think that it is going to be bullish for Bitcoin, but not because of the launch of this mini trust. I think the mini trust kind of is a line in the sand from Grayscale, kind of saying, okay, we do think that the GBTC selling is gone for the most part, and so now we are providing this new product to the market that isn't going to further incentivize selling because that would have been counter to their interests. But now, the result of this, and this is where you put the tinfoil hat on, Tim. Well, let me before we get there, Tim, I want to get your response, and then I'll put the tinfoil hat on.
Oh, I'm kind of interested in the tinfoil hat.
Ultimately,
I think you're right. I will say every time that we say that we think that the larger Grayscale ETF is done selling off, it seems like the next day we get a big sell-off. So I want to see it before I fully believe it. But I do think it's one of those things that should factor in from here on out. Could the sell-off of the larger Grayscale ETF simply be a moving of funds for longer term? Like they're going to have to reap. Think about it this way: if you have a decent amount of Bitcoin in the larger Grayscale ETF, yeah, the fees kind of stink right now. So if you sell off, you're going to pay some pretty good fees to sell out, right? But you're going to pay a lot less now to deal with it when Bitcoin's sitting at $66,000 than if you wait till Bitcoin's at, let's say, 100 or 120, or the price prediction we gave the other day pushing 200,000. You think the fees are high at, the amount of money you have to part with at 66,000 is high. It's going to be even worse up there at 200, right? So this might not be a bad time to say, you know what? Let me sell out of this this high fee Bitcoin holding, and let me go into the lower one. And that way, when I sell at the profit at the top of the market, hopefully, the amount of money I have to part with in fees is a lot less. To me, that makes a lot of logical sense. If I'm a GBTC holder right now, still I'm holding out, I see this news and I'm saying I want to stay with Grayscale. This looks like a better option for me. Let me go ahead and bite the bullet and take the big hit now rather than taking a humongous hit at the top of the bull market.
So you think that there's a pervasive sell thesis here, that the taxable event argument is a good one, but it's not ultimately not going to hold, and we will see more outflows from GBTC.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, you might also like to take this and take a little bit of a hit now rather than later, even for tax reasons, But I don't know. I mean, ultimately, hopefully a lot of people holding the GBTCs aren't even – hopefully people holding ETFs are not going to be taking massive profit at the top. They're actually thinking, and this is what a lot of people in the smarter investing world do, they're going to be holding this ETF for years and years and years because they see the writing on the wall. Man, I can go buy one Bitcoin right now for $60,000, and then here in 10 years, even if they're not very bullish, I think most people think turning it into 500,000 in 10 years, where I believe it's going to be closer to 1 million, if not over. Even if you're thinking 500,000, that's worth it to hold it that long. But I do think there's going to be people who trade these and go in and out, in and out, in and out. And you definitely don't want to do that with high GBTC fees, the highest of all the ETFs right now. I see this as an opportunity. I like Grayscale. I trust Grayscale. I want to be invested in Grayscale's ETF, but I can move it into one where the fees for me to go in and out are a lot cheaper. I don't want to wait till Bitcoin's at 200,000. I want to do that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, ultimately, it'll be Grayscale kind of coming out with this new product that kind of marks the end, in my opinion. It's not Steven Sondheim. What the heck is his name? I've got to find this out right now. CEO of Grayscale.
I don't know. I'm being told by Ada Ace we have to look at something in Discord too, by the way.
Here it is.
Oh, yeah, I saw this story.
I wanted to say Sondheim. It's not Sondheim. Michael Sonnenschein. Anyway. Sorry, bros. But he comes out and says that the Grayscale is reaching equilibrium. Generally, if you look at the data, which this Dune data set here does a pretty good job of that. You can see that there was initially a ton of selling, and then it waned off, and then there was a lot more dumpage of the GBTC. The purple is what represents the outflows of GBTC, and now it's kind of leveled off again. Now we could have another, giant uptick in the histograms to the downside, signaling more outflows. But ultimately, it is starting to level off, and you could make the argument that the equilibrium is being reached. So why now? Why would GBTC come out? Why would Grayscale come out with a product that really they should have come out with on January 10th? Well, I think it's because you don't want to slap your existing customers in the face that all that AUM that was in GBTC, right? If you just it'd be kind of like coming out and saying everybody who just bought a Tesla for what is it, $40,000, right? Now we're coming out with a Tesla that's only $20,000, right? But it's like, oh, we just bought it for $40,000. What the heck? You just, so you'd make your existing customer base kind of upset at you. Now that everybody who's gotten out has gotten out, everybody who had that motivation to get out, less the taxable event folks, now Grayscale is actually coming out with a competitive product. And when I say competitive, that has to do with the fees. So I got the fees pulled up here. You can see, so the existing fee for GBTC is 1.5, which you'll notice there's nothing on the right side of the decimal point for the rest of this fees for ETFs. And when you get down to Franklin Templeton down here, theirs is notoriously the lowest at 0.19. Tim, the new Grayscale ETF is going to be 0.15. So it will be the best from a fee structure standpoint. Yep. Now, BlackRock and Fidelity are going to be able to make arguments that theirs is superior, and that's why they've gotten, more AUM than their competitors. But I think ultimately this does signal to me that at least by Grayscale's calculation and their CFO and their CEO are kind of, by releasing this product, they're kind of saying, okay, the GBTC sell-off, the sell the news event, that we kind of pulled a fast one on you all. Maybe we were working with BlackRock, maybe we were working with Wall Street on that, but all that's in the past now. We are a serious competitor in the ETF for Bitcoin spot industry. Come and buy our wares, come buy our goods and services. And I think that this will just be a gray stain on Grayscale's otherwise very early to Bitcoin kind of reputation. So it's bullish. I think ultimately it is bullish, and I do think that this signals kind of the stopping of the outflow. That was a really, really long answer, but this is a really complicated question because that sell the news event in early January 10th, right? That was I don't know that it was unprecedented, but it was not predicted, right? The market had not priced this in. And I don't think that the market has priced in or has begun to really understand what a new Grayscale entrance of a new ETF really means to the market, if that's going to be bullish or bearish. I think it's going to be bullish because of what it signals to the market. Hey, Grayscale, we're done. We're no longer going to disrespect our existing clients by releasing this product because we feel that all of those that would feel disrespected, that would email us and clog up our support staff, They are not going to do that because the only ones left we're never going to sell anyway because of that taxable event variable. So that was a lot. Tim, let's get into some liquidity levels. I know
Yeah.
you've been excited about that.
Well, you're talking about because that's what I pulled up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
I
have
was
anything
just
you wanted to show?
No, I mean, I was just looking at just checking because I didn't check it pre-show. This kind of shows a tight range. If we're talking about liquidation levels right here, guys, I'll zoom in. There's liquidity, up above 75. There's liquidity down below 50. Ultimately, in the next 7 days, you're kind of looking at this and saying, all right, yeah, we got some up here to 67, maybe towards 68. And then that kind of clears out. We have a little bit coming back down towards 62. This puts us all within that range we've been talking about. What I did want to address, and we were talking about this. So we don't talk about this. This is what A to Ace. If you guys are following along chat, you guys read chat. That's one of the amazing things about our community. You guys are so awesome in there. He's been tagging you and me, T-Shroom, and saying, go check out Discord. There's a tweet recently put out here by Watcher.Guru, one of mine and T-Shroom's favorite Twitter follows for crypto news. This is some pretty big news coming out here minutes ago, or at least he posted it minutes ago at 3:18. Just in, multiple SEC lawyers resign after a federal judge sanctioned the agency for false statements and abuse of power in a crypto case. They lied? Okay, so it's not a shocker to us. The question is this going to be a shocker to the rest of the space? Because we've actually addressed this. We've addressed the fact that even though you and me, T-Shroom, and most of the people watching this show right now all know that the SEC is full of crap, and they lie just to try to throw their weight around. But there are lots of people, dare I say millions, that listen when the SEC says, oh, this is a security. Oh, this is not good. Oh, we need to shut this down. This is dangerous to consumers. We know they're full of crap. But there are people who are like, well, if the SEC is concerned, then there must be realistic, worrisome things about this space. And now a judge is saying, you guys have been lying and abusing your power, and we have SEC lawyers resigning. Now, it doesn't necessarily go into details here. I'd love to learn more. Are these ethical lawyers resigning because they're like, yeah, we're tired of working for an agency that does nothing but lie? When I took the bar and became a lawyer, I did this to help people. Or are they resigning in disgrace, meaning the SEC was pretty much like, all right, we are not doing well here. You guys suck at lying. This is the game. We need to lie, but you guys suck at it, and we're getting caught by judges. Resign with some form of honor, and we might be able to help you get a job somewhere else. I don't know why these lawyers are resigning. Are they good lawyers? Are they bad lawyers? Would love to find out. But the case stands here that judges in the U.S., as bad as the world is looking at a lot of different levels, T-Shroom, we have seen some judges here recently. Not all. There are some judges I would have words with. But we've seen multiple judges standing on the Constitution, standing on what's actually right, not being paid off here and there. Like, they're cutting down the SEC. The SEC just takes loss after loss after loss whenever they go before a judge. This is very encouraging to me. We're not seeing the markets kind of react to this news. It doesn't look like, in fact, I think since this news launched, things are slightly down, which to me says, as of right now, this news is a nothing burger. It will be interesting to see how this plays out over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be interesting to see how this affects the Coinbase lawsuit. It'll be interesting to see how this affects the other things that the SEC's in court right now, trying to call Solana and Cardano and AVAX and these others, calling them securities. Let's see if people get less pessimistic and potentially then you see altcoins run. I doubt that happens, but that's what I want to watch in the next little bit here, T-Shroom. What about you? Is this news surprising to you? What do you kind of do with this information?
Well, I briefly mentioned some tinfoil hat that I wanted to get into, and specifically that was in reference not to this, because I hadn't, this is literally 13, 15 minutes old. But my initial reaction to this one before I get into my tinfoil hat is, well, you know what? I think that there's this emerging theory, and I think that folks are starting to take it seriously in the crypto zeitgeist, and it's as follows: is that the originator of Bitcoin is yet to be known, right? But
hopefully never is.
All parties who appear to be opponents to Bitcoin and its ends are doing so as straw men. Meaning the SEC, Elizabeth Warren, Vanguard, Jamie Dimon, probably you set China and the CCP to the side for this analysis because I only have so many brain cells, right? But for this analysis, you set the CCP to the side. But all of the ones I just listed are all kind of feigning opposition. They're faking that they really don't like Bitcoin. They come up with these, the money laundering, the criminality, we don't even know who Satoshi is. All these things are just they're kind of bringing it forward as if they were trying to poke a stick at it, and as if they were trying to give the American people their due for paying taxes, and that they're giving Bitcoin a fair shake. When in reality, they know that Bitcoin's solid, right? But they just don't want to make it seem like they have gotten themselves into trillions of dollars of debt. It's insurmountable. Each citizen of the United States would have to pay something like $500,000 a person to be able to pay off the fiscal debt, right? And they know that, and they know that they're back up against a wall times infinity at this point. And I had this thought in college, actually, when I was studying economics. One of my professors was actually, he wrote the contracts for Visa and MasterCard. And so we were taught a lot about credit cards and credit debt and things like that. And just going into these long lectures about credit and how credit worked and economics and macroeconomics. And by the way, just to give credit where credit due, I was the top student in that class.
Good. Yeah, I was going to ask that. That was my next question, but didn't want to disrupt your flow.
But I came up with this concept. I was like, what if there was just because we were also talking about the federal deficit and the federal debt, and I was like, well, what if there was like a third level of credit, that was made available? And I had that thought probably in like 2000. Man, that would have been probably around 2017. I did not know what Bitcoin was. And if I had known what Bitcoin was, I probably still wouldn't have put two and two together. So despite how I may come across, my intelligence does have limitations. But anyway, when you kind of bring all this together, and this is the full observance of the tinfoil hat tradition here, of course, everything that I'm saying is speculation. I don't claim to strongly believe anything that I'm saying, but it is a possibility, is that the powers that be, the international, it would have to be international at this point, the international traditional financial system, observing that the Keynesian economic experiment has been a raging failure for most Western economies, and saying, okay, well, we got to come up with something else. And they probably try, they've clearly tried a bunch of different things with quantitative easing and tightening cycles, but that's just more Keynesian economics, right? And so when something comes along that's a new currency and isn't gold, right? It can't be gold, right? Because the economists would never go for that. The economic academia establishment would never go for that. Intelligentsia, that's what I was looking for. They would never go for a return to the gold standard. So Bitcoin comes along, and they're like, oh, well, this actually works with the online payments industry. This would work with e-commerce. All of the point of sale infrastructure at gas stations and grocery stores are already fitted for this stuff, but we can't come out with it immediately because it'll look like we don't know what we're doing. So we have to prop up some straw men to make it look like there's opposition to this, but really it's been the plan all along to fully integrate this so that we can say, oh, all that debt we owe, we're going to pay it back, but we're just going to devalue the dollar to the point where how much we owe doesn't really matter anymore. But we have a bunch of Bitcoin all of a sudden, and that's really the new currency. And so it works out well with people with Bitcoin, but you can kind of see how it doesn't work out well with people with fiat. So that's why it's important to get off zero, and that's why a headline like this doesn't really surprise me either, Tim, is that if you read this headline through that lens that I just rolled out, this is all just according to the plan. If you don't look at it through that lens, which I think both are just as legitimate. I don't claim to know that what I'm saying is true. And that should be clear. The investing bros don't believe what I just said. I think it's a possibility. But if you look at it through the other lens, this also doesn't surprise me because the SEC has proven themselves again and again to just be pretty bad in courts against crypto because they have no jurisdiction in crypto after all. But I feel as though I've been very long-winded in this explanation. So,
well, I think there's something. I'll admit there's moments in that explanation I was a little lost because it is the reason why is because your brain's so much higher. You were top of your class, and
exactly.
I very much was not. So,
right.
But I agree with when the bits and pieces I was clear what was happening. I absolutely agree. I will say, I really hope, even though I don't believe it, that there isn't some orchestrated behind the scenes manipulation to get us to Bitcoin to do what you just explained. It would make sense for what you explained to be true, but if it was true, just we're gonna get into Q&A here in a second. I see some great stuff in chat. If this was all orchestrated, no entity that has power orchestrates things to give away power. They orchestrate it to keep power and just do it in a more productive way. That's why I hope that the tinfoil hat you're putting on is a fake one and that we are witnessing a financial revolution. Like that's what the fight from the governments is almost in a way encouraging. Like what we saw happen between 2017 and 2021, where I believe there was heavy suppression, heavy manipulation, heavy fighting from governments and entities because they saw the writing on the wall. That's actually long-term encouraging because it means we're on to something here with Bitcoin that threatens their power. If it turns out they're behind this whole move, then that's scary. But what I like, though, is that I hope this revolution and what we're seeing right now, like, for example, I had this conversation with people in the office earlier today.
I bet you did.
The BRICS nations are jumping on the crypto bandwagon. Why? Because they see the writing on the wall that they're losing the financial battle here, right? I'm not saying don't be afraid of what Russia and China and India are capable of and the other countries and BRICS nations. But what I will say is, to be fair, right now, guys, as bad as it seems like the economy is doing in the U.S., this is pebbles to boulders of what's happening around the rest of the world. And they're realizing, guys, we messed up. We're going to lose to the U.S. unless we make a drastic move and flip into crypto. And if the U.S. continues to fight it with things like corrupt SEC, with things like Auntie Beth, that's Elizabeth Warren, getting to reign her ugly head. That sounds mean.
Rear her ugly head.
Rear her head that's not as beautiful as some others. And speak negatively about crypto, we're going to see a pretty ugly switch happen in the US when in reality, if this is a financial revolution, which I hope it is, T-Shroom, the emergence of BRICS nation getting into crypto could get us to a point where the US has to realize, those who want power and control realize, guys, if we don't adapt and get into the crypto world as well, we're going to lose power. So we have to. But now you've entered in the trap of, well, when you take on solid money that is Bitcoin, you have to play by solid money rules. Ergo, you can't go taking these ridiculous levels of debt like you used to without paying the consequences. Ergo, you have to respect. People are now going to be able to see what you are doing with your money, and there's a trustless economy. That is the financial revolution that we have hoped and prayed for Bitcoin to be, and I hope that that continues. If it's not the case, and this whole thing was orchestrated to switch us over to a digitalized money, and that there's a way that they ultimately really are still able to control Bitcoin, that's just, we have a solid money, but we're still, in a power struggle where the very few control the many. Let's address some chat here for a second. Crux of Crypto, it says welcome to the bros. I don't know if he was one before or not. He did say this is a 1-year bro anniversary or something like that. Crux, you are a bro forever and always. Thank you for joining the membership. If you guys want to get a cool green name, his isn't green because he's already a moderator, but if you want a green name like some of these other people like Username and Sawtooth, Hiker, join the membership, $5, not that much. You also get to go to Bro Times on Wednesday afternoons, which are always fun. I saw someone ask here, James Taylor said, what tier of Lux Algo should I buy? Good question here. If you guys want to get to our VIP trading group, you can get those oscillators and indicators that are phenomenal for trading. If you buy a whole year up front, I would say the premium package is the best. This one will get you, if you guys see me using the indicators like the support and resistance levels and the oscillators, you get all of that for the $40 worth a month. It's almost $500, $479, $480 for upfront year-long access. If you buy it monthly, it goes up to $68 a month. That's why I do suggest the annual, but it's up to you if you want to test it for a month and make sure you're getting your money's worth, which I think you will. Do the monthly. The Essential only gets you the order blocks, right? So if you ever see me doing order blocks like this, let me turn some stuff off. That's what you would get. Like, so these order blocks, and there's a couple other indicators, but my favorite is the order blocks. That's what you would get for the $40 a month or $25 a month if you buy a whole year up front. The ultimate, there's back testing. I have not played with that just yet, and I need to at some point. But as you can see, buying a whole year up front, you're looking at $60 a month. If you do it monthly, you're looking at 120. I do a lot of my own back testing, but I will play with the back testing and let you guys know what I think about it at a certain time. But I would suggest premium. And if you're committed, you want to be in that VIP trading group, and you love what you see with ALGO, go ahead and do the year-long package. Save yourself some money, and you will not regret it whatsoever. Let's go ahead and jump in. Chat was kind of talking about XRP because that's really what's happening. I think there's more details about court with XRP coming out today. And that's where I think people's eyes are looking when they're thinking the SEC gets caught for lying. Let's go see what's happening with XRP. Now, XRP was already kind of bullish here for a little while. Here on the daily chart, we actually were printing a pretty strong buy order today on the daily chart after hitting our take profit. Lux Algo called a sell order way back here March 16th. Ended up being a pretty good call, and we hit our take profit down to that fat order block. Now we're starting to see the signs of bullishness come into play. I come over here to the 4-hour chart. We've been bullish here for a little while. We printed bullish back on the 19th. Broke through that smart shell concept. We're starting to hit those levels of take profit. I think this is one that easily comes back up closer towards 60 cents. Maybe it's stuck somewhere here around 57, 58 in the red cloud here on the 4-hour chart. But I'm not seeing like a freakish amount of bullishness based off of this news. Again, this is a 15-minute chart, so this could be the one. If this news was crazy bullish for XRP itself, we'd see a massive white candle in here. When we really don't, we just see some consistent bullishness. We do have one candle right here kind of showing it doesn't really, that's a pretty bearish looking candle right there. This take profit, I think, reprinted. I think this was the take profit here after the buy order we had back a couple of hours ago. So not gonna be surprised to see short term, just some sideways action, 4-hour chart, maybe a little more bullishness coming back into it, hitting that red cloud. But I will say, if anyone's thinking, is this news massively bullish for XRP? We're not seeing the chart say that yet. I'm not saying it's not, but with that news being that big, you would think we would see bigger 15-minute candles, and we're just not. We're not seeing it. The difference is XRP, I almost said Bitcoin. XRP was already bullish. It was already moving to the upside before this news because it was oversold. It came down and dropped to 46 cents. That was oversold, and it was time to go back up for the altcoin. Zoom out, though. Again, a new sentence that we're saying a lot now. Before you freak out, zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, before you freak out and get crazy bullish, zoom out here. I'm still on the 4-hour chart. I'm not even going out to the daily chart. Not that long ago, we were up at 74 cents. We've been setting these lower highs in here. Ultimately, here's the other thing is take a look. We kind of addressed this. We had this flat level of support right here. This kind of played out pretty well. When you have that flat level support and then you set all these lower highs, eventually when you break that support, you have a little, grabbed the wrong line there. This is, all right, I'll just get rid of Fibonacci. It's in the way anyway. Why is this being so hard to grab? There you go. This ended up breaking out pretty much perfectly, guys. Look at the breakout prediction this had down to 42. Where did we wick down to? 42 cents. Now, this was support. Take a look at where we're headed. When I turn back on these indicators, take a look at where we're headed. We're just heading back to what used to be support here a couple of days ago. Let's call it weeks, but a week or two ago. Now, are we just turning it back into resistance? This isn't overly long-term bullish. This is short-term bullish. And that's why before you freak out and get super crazy excited, zoom out, and then you get a clear picture. Can we break back above 57 cents? All right, let's get above 57 cents. Let's close some 4-hour and daily candles above 57 cents. And now we have some new bullish talking points. You zoom even further out. Let's go to the daily chart. We have a couple of outliers, but effectively XRP is really working here. Wants to have a big breakout coming sometime. It looks like it wants to start moving here by August 24 because look at this long-term symmetrical triangle pattern that has some wicks go above and below, but as a whole, price consolidates below that yellow falling resistance level, this rising red level. Big move should be coming for XRP in the next couple of months. We've actually already talked about that, though. Alts could start seeing – we could see alts actually get a little bullish July, August area. Not go taking and go crazy away from Bitcoin, but take a look here. This is kind of checking out here with explosive price action. So it's one of those things like next day or two, bullish. Next week or two, maybe bearish. Next couple of months, bullish. I'm going to be bullish here on XRP. So let's take a look there. Let's go look at our Cardano. People are saying yesterday, I think on Saturday, I said in the intro that we would take a look at Cardano TA, and then I didn't. And you know what that makes me? A freaking liar, and I hate that. So we're going to talk about it now.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
You want to talk about another breakout prediction that we called? I mean, I think we already addressed this, but we talked about the 40 cent pullback. Again, another big move here from these highs back at 80 cents. I did not grab the trend line correctly. These highs here at 80 cents down to this very strong flat support level that was flat since back in February. Then you know what you do. You take this over, you break out, take a look at where we went just slightly below it, but to 40 cents. So now, same as XRP, I could kind of come in here and extend this a little further. Cardano could be bullish. You know, are we going to fall on this? Are we come back up to this trailing yellow line that was resistance and turn to yellow again? Do we make a move back up towards 57 cents with Cardano? Yeah, I mean, that could happen. But when I'm zoomed out like this, that's not a overtly bullish move. That's more of like all right, that's bullish for the very short term, but until that 57 cents is reconquered, it's not the greatest look in the world. Take a look at there. That's where our 4-hour take profit and red clouds coming in. So that's what it kind of looks like right here, that the bullishness should continue on these altcoins. But when you zoom out, you're sitting here saying, well, that's still lower highs and lower lows. T-Shroom, what trend is lower highs and lower lows?
An uptrend.
Okay. If it's
higher highs and lower lows.
Okay. Now you're just playing with me here. We're talking about a bear trend here.
Megaphone pattern.
We're trying to help the people out, and you're too busy. Listen, Mr. Top of his class. What class was it? What was the class?
Macroeconomics. Come on.
Was that at Santa Fe?
Santa Fe College, baby.
All right. Hey, T-shirt.
St. Bernard's.
The same college. The St. Bernard's. Intimidating, you know.
Yes. Now, Tim, we've got the factoid of the day. We also got a bunch of news that we haven't even begun to cover.
We're not going to be able to get through it all because I gotta go here. I mean, you can keep going. I guess I didn't think about it. You're the one controlling this whole show. I could dip out at 4 and you just keep the show going. Is that what people want? Smash the like button and put a 1 in chat if you want T-Shroom to carry the show on after 4 o'clock.
Unprecedented.
I do have to dip at 4. I don't. Yeah, do that. Okay, sorry. Let's do the factoid though. I do need to be here for the factoid. That would be a weird factoid if I'm gone for that one. You definitely can address news after I leave. It does look like people want you to continue the show after 4 o'clock, so you're going to continue, wrap it out for the day. Let's get the factoid, and then we'll answer like 1 or 2 questions before I have to hit the road.
Excellent. Well, Tim, believe it or not, today's factoid of the day is brought to you by iTrust Capital. You can buy and sell crypto and gold and silver within your IRA and Roth IRA. And this is a tax-advantaged way to buy and sell crypto and stack those sats, baby. Let's get into it here. The signal to start and stop trading on the New York Stock Exchange was not always a bell. Which method would you utilize before the bell? Was it A, a gavel, B, a human voice, just like you're hearing now, C, a horseshoe, or D, a gunshot?
I'm going to go with what I hope the correct answer. I have no idea, so I'm going to go with my hopes and dreams on this one.
Okay.
D, gunshot.
Go with gunshot.
Because that's what they do for races. So my thought is it was a different time, you know? It was a different time, and they weren't aware of the dangers of shooting guns off in the middle of places. I don't know if there's a bullet there. I guess I hope they didn't put a bullet in there. But yeah, let's go D. Let's go D, gunshot. And if I'm wrong, I'll be very disappointed in this answer.
Gavel.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed.
That's right. The signal to start and stop trading was not always a bell, Tim. A gavel was originally a signal, which is still utilized alongside the bell. However, the gavel is frequently damaged when you're hitting it every day. You know, during the late 1800s, the New York Stock Exchange decided to switch the gavel for a gong to signal the day's beginning and end. And then after the New York Stock Exchange changed to its present location in 18th Broad Street, the gong was switched to the bell format that is currently used today. Fascinating, Tim. We've got about 5 minutes here. I think we can get through a good chunk of news. But how roasted do you feel after getting that one wrong?
Hold off on the news. Let's do Q&A and then do the news when I'm gone.
Yeah, there's a good amount of Q&A.
Yeah. What's the best question you're seeing here?
All right. So I will address some of these when I'm.
Oh,
when
Zachary Martin makes a good point. He said, so technically gong was actually the answer because the answer was that it went from a gavel to a gong to a bell. So it could have been either one of them. Now, I didn't guess either one because I went with the coolest option. That's for those, I understand when people say, what do you mean make America great again? We could have had a gun signaling that it was time to start and stop trading, and we chose not to.
That's right. There could have been a gun in a lot of
America
different
could
situations.
have been so cool. So cool if we had done that. Anyway, yeah, what was the best question you see?
We're not leaving Zachary Martin's contributions to the chat. He asked, how long does everyone think we are going to chill around 65 to 70K? So, Tim, what is your response to that?
Well, my range is broader than that. I think that it's more like 61 to 71K and then potentially an outlier down to 55K. My historical analysis would say a while. I mean, a couple of months, probably 3 to 5 months, give or take. Then you also got to think about it. It actually lines up kind of perfectly with what have we kind of speculated that a lot of people thought we were going to get a rate cut early in 2025. Then that's turning out not to happen. So now people aren't as bullish. We'll probably start getting more positive news here in 3, 4, 5 months. I think that the economy cutting rates will probably correspond with when crypto starts to break out massively. Could we get above 71K before that? Maybe barely, but I'm not expecting fireworks like one day we shoot from 70 to 80 without some sort of big economic bullish news like, hey guys, we're going to cut rates.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Beautiful. Okay, well, then that leads us to another question here from the Nice Cult. It said,
are there any nice cults?
I'd like to think so.
Is that an oxymoron?
The cult of personality is by definition charming. All right, moving on. Thinking about selling all my ETH and buying something pumpier. I like that. Like Ondo. What do you think, Tim? While you're thinking and top of the class T-Shirt's going to give his answer.
Top of the class answer. Yeah.
Yes, I think that breaking off some of your Ethereum to buy Ondo is good because I did that. Not financial advice, but I picked up some Ondo. I did not sell Ethereum to finance that purchase, but I would have if that had crossed my mind. I think that Ethereum's going to do well. Do not be flooded out of your Ethereum by any means. It's going to do very well in this bull market, better than I think a lot of folks think. But Ondo seems like it's a good investment for sure. Not financial advice.
I'll give this answer and then I got to go.
Okay.
Here's what I would say. I don't have a yes or no. I'm going to ask the question to people decide this. Do you have a bull market plan? Do you have a portfolio breakdown of what you hope to hold at the top of the bull market? If the answer to that question is no, that should be the top priority, building your portfolio plan. We've given some suggestions on this show. We've done some breakdowns. Other people have done breakdowns. But if you do not have a plan, you are already messing up. Those who fail to plan to fail. So next question, if your answer was yes, all right, how much Ethereum was in that plan? Do you have more than that? Do you have less than that? Do you have the right amount? Do you need to ask a question if you readjust? But if your answer is no, I have less Ethereum than I plan, don't go sell your Ethereum and go buy more Ondo. Try to find a way to make more dry powder and then buy Ondo with dry powder. If you have enough Ethereum, good. Just hold that Ethereum and write it out. If you have more, if you're looking at your portfolio and being like, yeah, dang it, I got a lot of Ethereum in here, I got to kind of level this out, then that's when I'm liquidating Ethereum to go into Ondo or any other altcoin I think will have better gains. But it all comes back to that first question. Do you have a bull market plan and a bull market portfolio? If your answer is no, you done messed up. Start there, and then we'll address the other questions later. It's been a pleasure, T-Shroom. I will say, just so people know, we are in a community trade on Ondo, speaking of Ondo, that has not entered, so we're not going to give a giveaway there just yet. I still feel like Ondo is going to pull back a little bit before going bigger, so I'm going to hold off on that. If by this coming week we have not entered a trade, we'll just do it again. We'll get another suggestion. Maybe we'll do a short or something. I told you guys, don't chase trades, and I don't chase trades, so because I don't chase it, I have not gotten into that just yet, but I've not forgotten about you guys. We do have $100 that is going to be going, that plus the winnings, to one lucky winner. Stay tuned. Watch every single show for more information. With that said, T-Shroom, take it away. I will see you guys tomorrow. Tonight, I'm going to be filming an Ethereum price prediction video, so stay tuned for that coming out at 6 p.m. T-Shroom, you have a good day. You guys have a good day. Adios. Oh, yeah, good. I like that. Oh, yeah. Stock money's gone.
See you, Tim. All right, folks. I want to correct something in here. Crypto Granny said Ondo Finance. No. I'm going to say no. It's not called Ondo Finance. You want to go to coinmarketcap.com and just look up Ondo. ONDO is the ticker and the name of the project. Ondo Finance, it might be referred to that somewhere, but I would not. If you're looking to, you're in some kind of DEX and it's saying swap for Ondo Finance, retreat and go here. Get the address from the Ethereum address here from CoinMarketCap, and then you'll be off to the races. Not financial advice. Not saying to go buy Ondo, but definitely don't buy some fake version of Ondo. That would be even worse. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump on into the news here. Also brought to you guys by who we trust, which is iTrust Capital. Let's get into this. Now, there's not a ton of news, but well, there is a lot of things that I'm going to cover. It's not all news, but let's get into it. New York Stock Exchange asks market participants about 24/7 trading for stocks. Now, I would have liked to have asked him, is this because they're getting jealous of how much more volume there is over on the crypto trading world? And of course, it's not more than New York Stock Exchange day by day, but it is a lot, and it is starting to give the New York Stock Exchange a run for its money, a little bit of competition. So overall, this is an interesting development here. And there's a lot of details here, but ultimately, questions in New York Stock Exchange survey include whether participants would prefer overnight trading to take place 7 days a week, how investors should be protected from price fluctuations, as well as opinions on the staffing of overnight sessions, according to FT, Financial Times. So overall, I'm sitting here like, you know what? The reason I didn't get into Bitcoin for the longest time was because of the overnight trading, how the Bitcoin market never closes. That kept me out of Bitcoin for a long time because I was like, why would you ever invest in something that could just, have a flash crash at night? I mean, the reality is that unless you're sitting there 24/7 trading stocks, obviously not 24/7. If you're sitting there from 9:30 to 4, you really don't have an argument. That is not a valid argument, and I should have bought Bitcoin much earlier had I not had that stupid thought in my head. Okay, moving on. The Cabesi letter here put up a poll. Should the New York Stock Exchange approve 24/7 trading? And out of almost 2,500 people, there was a resounding majority that said no. So I don't. The reality is that it's probably going to go this way. Robinhood already has 24-hour trading on some key assets that has a lot of volume. So we'll see. Here's a headline. IMF recognizes Bitcoin as a savings tool for individuals in high inflation countries. We are winning, Bitcoin Magazine. Very, very interesting development there, considering the theory that I laid out earlier in this episode. Now, Bedridden brought this one to my attention. Watcher.guru said, X has now received money transmitter licenses for payment services in 25 states, so more than 50% of the way there. But the big one that matters is the state your boy's in, which is Florida. Let me know, what state are you watching and listening from? I'd love to know. Moving along, though, we already covered the multiple SEC lawyers who have been ousted in a mysterious way. I'm sure we'll have more details on that by tomorrow morning. XRP rallies past 50 cents as Ripple prepares for response to SEC requirement for $2 billion penalty. Yikes. Ripple is set to file its remedy-related opposition brief on Monday, today, as a response to the SEC's opening brief, which asked for $2 billion in fines. This is not going to affect your portfolio unless you have a lot of XRP. My guess is that this isn't going to be, this would be bearish, if anything, because this is going to solidify, once Ripple gives its opposition, then it's going to solidify whether or not a non-zero fine will be levied on Ripple. And so I would imagine that there's some exit liquidity type dynamics right now. I could be misreading that, so don't make any trades based off of that type of conclusion. But I don't know. It just, if you look at the cards for XRP, it just does not seem, it seems like all the wrong things are happening. And I hate to say that because they've been around for so long and they've really been the whipping boy for the industry in a lot of ways. But the way it goes is not, I just don't have a good feeling about it, right? But we don't trade on feelings. We trade on facts. We trade on data. So that's just my opinion, right? Injective could extend gains with 99% approval on upgrade proposal to reduce inflation. This could be very, very bullish for Injective, a coin that has been down, a layer one that's been down relative to the market for a little while now. All right. Well, if you've been tuning in, you've had some fun, you've had some laughs, and hopefully you've learned something. Omar, for the record, Omar Torres saying Ondo Finance on Coinbase, bro. So, okay, maybe it's called Ondo Finance on Coinbase. Crypto Granny earlier was trying to specify, is it Ondo Finance? Just make sure, because there's, on every DEX and on even some centralized exchanges, there's fake coins that are named Ondo or named Matic, but they're not really Matic. The way that you can make sure you're buying the coin you want is by checking on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, making sure that those addresses line up. And the way that you can do that is by going to a page on CoinMarketCap for the coin you want to buy, coming over to the left-hand side, scrolling down past the tokenomics here and into the contract. And then this is where you would copy it and just make sure that that is indeed the Ethereum rails for the coin that you want to buy. And then there's usually more options than just Ethereum. There'll be Binance Smart Chain or Polygon or whatever else it's going to be. But that is how you can avoid getting scammed, just buying a coin on a DEX. Folks, go ahead and smash that like button for me. It has been a real pleasure to bring you all today's news. Tim and I have covered a lot of different things on the show. And look, we're growing, we're having fun, and we're so glad that you've come along with us. And it's only going to get better from here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been T-Shroom. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.